Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for the Buckhead Business Radio Show.
All right, good morning, everyone. Rich Castle over here, live in Buckhead on our Buckhead Business Radio X studios. And a great day this morning. We're enjoying another change of weather, tax season, and congratulations to the Masters winner, Bubba Watson, right? I drew a blank on his name there for a second, yeah. All right, so I'm excited. We got a great lineup here this morning. A little bit unknowingly, we have quite a few people kind of in agricultural and business, or at least in that background of that field. And we're also going to be talking to a couple of folks with a inspirational story on a school and what they're doing for kids in the local Atlanta community, and kind of a unique twist. And I checked out their website, so we want to tune in up this morning. And kind of a different twist, although one of them has a little background in the food business. And but this morning we're going to be talking to Anne-Marie Laramie,
yes,
right, and Denise Dedamore.
Dedamore, that's correct.
All right, cool. 2 for 2 so far, yeah. And so now, and in your background, it's what we're going to be talking about this morning is Kids for Coding and Advantage Learning Cooperative. It's a one-of-a-kind learning center with an emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and math, also known as STEM, right? We offer classes. They offer classes. You don't want me anywhere near teaching, but they offer classes in computing programming, game design, 3D video, animation, robotics, and more. They're offering for grades 2 through 12. Also do summer camps, and you have program activities for after-school programs and Saturdays. And computer science. I mean, it's a critical component of innovation. I mean, we're right. This is really becoming the, what do you call Silicon South, right? I mean, there's a lot going on here with ADTC and Atlanta Tech Village. So anyway, so your goal is to motivate and inspire generations for the opportunities in their future. So welcome to the show here. How y'all doing this morning?
Much. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about, well, first of all, where you guys are located, because sometimes we might get deep in the conversation. People are like, I'd love to go there, but
we're in Roswell, Georgia, right on Crabapple Road.
Okay. And how long have y'all been there?
We have been there for 15 months. And we started the technology, the Kids for Coding, in January, so that's relatively new.
Oh, okay, cool. And just for our listeners, tell us who we're speaking with, because we got two people here.
My name is Anne-Marie Laramie.
Okay. And so technology classes, what are some examples of some that are being offered at the school? And this is Denise. You're going to jump in.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you for having me here. A couple of the coding classes that we have are Scratch programming, which was developed by MIT. And so imagine children as young as grades 2 beginning the beginning stages of computer programming, which then integrates over 19 different mathematical concepts. So if you can, and they are actually some of our most excited children when they come to these classes. So if you can imagine children learning X and Y coordinates at the age of 7, positive and negative numbers, and being able to apply those to a program that is not only visual, but also they can create games, they can create stories, and the children love what they're doing in our classes. And so we've been very successful with people who have had their children enrolled in a 6-week course, and then they come back. So we also offer, for our summer course, we're going to be offering Minecraft EDU, and I'm sure many of the listeners, and I don't know if you have children, a lot of our children are playing video games nonstop.
Right.
And Minecraft now has an educational component that's being funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So we are incorporating all of our classes as having academic enrichment. So one of our teachers for the summer program is a math literacy teacher in Forsyth County. He has developed a Minecraft mathematics curriculum, and he is going to be teaching this during the summer. So children aren't going to be just sitting at their computers at home mindlessly playing video games. They're coming to the center to learn. And so that's one class that we're offering. And Anne-Marie may want to talk about
we're
several
also
others.
offering robotics classes.
Really?
We're offering Mindstorms. We're offering...
What's a Mindstorm?
Mindstorms is a robotics.
Oh, okay.
It's called Mindstorms EV3, and it's one of the latest robotics programs.
From the Legos.
Oh, really? Legoland's right here.
Yeah. So they're also learning to code it as well. We're teaching 3D video animation.
Wow,
in
that's
grades.
hot.
We're starting in middle school, so kids are going to get a jump start on that. We're also interested in offering Movie Maker and iPhone app development.
Wow. That's crazy. That's just mind-boggling at that level or whatever, right? I mean, but that's where so much industry and money and future is going in that direction. I mean, there's just a crazy amount of opportunity there.
It is, and the schools are not offering these programs. And I'd love to read a little excerpt about this out of the New York Daily News.
Sure.
And it says, more often than not, the jobs of today and tomorrow require advanced knowledge in science and technology. In fact, by 2020, the U.S. economy will demand 120 million high-skilled workers with strong backgrounds in science, technology, engineering, and math, a set of skills commonly called STEM. The problem is only 50 million Americans will qualify for those jobs. To close that gap, our education system needs to prioritize STEM education, introduce children to it in the earlier grades, and continue these programs through high school. If our future generations are to compete in the economy of our future, STEM skills must no longer be treated as elective courses. They must become as second nature to our students as reading, writing, and arithmetic. So this is really
120
what
million.
we're passionate about.
There's only about 360 million
Right.
in the entire population, right? So you pretty much need to be on board or you're going to be left behind.
Exactly.
Well, it's interesting, Rich, the schools, only about 10% of our schools in our country are actually incorporating computer technology. What was interesting is just recently, this past week, I heard of a computer science teacher in our area that sent us an email and said that they were being, their job was no longer going to be available for them next year. And I was trying to wrap my brain around that. Yeah. And I've been in schools for many years, and a lot of schools do have computer labs. Many of them have 30 computers in a computer room.
Right.
A lot of times when you walk by those rooms, they're dark. They're dust collectors.
Right.
And when teachers do take those children to those labs, they're doing more passive research, finding information, maybe doing some online practice for standardized testing, which we know that's a whole nother show right in itself.
Why do you think it's not so prevalent in schools?
I think school boards put that on the back burner. And they're not prioritizing that, because if you look at it, we still have a traditional school setting.
Right.
We have a school system that still is on an agricultural calendar. If you look back over 100 years ago, 85% of people living in this country were in agriculture. Now it's 3%, but yet we still have the summer. And, of course, that's a debate. Some people think that we do need to have, a large summer break. But we're getting further and further behind. And I have some interesting information. I'm sure some of you might have heard this recently. The Program for International Students does an assessment every 3 years. Out of 65 countries, they do reading, math, and science. And they test over 500,000 students globally, 15-year-olds, in reading, math, and science. And those 15-year-olds are representing the 28 million 15-year-olds across the world globally. Where we are in math right now in the U.S. in ranking worldwide, we're 29th in math. We're up from 23 in 2009.
Well, that's good.
We're actually... So if you think about it, Vietnam is at the same level as the United States.
Wow.
We are 21st now in reading, and that was up from 9th. So we have lost ground.
Big time, yeah.
Big time. And in science, we're now 22nd in the world.
Jeez.
So what has happened is we're our education system is stagnant.
Right.
And the American Education Secretary Arne Duncan, he has said we must invest in education. We must make these types of courses that are going to teach lifelong 21st century skills, which will then lead to jobs in the future, available to students, but there's not the funding for it. So, what is interesting about all of this is our children love technology, and we think...
Oh, they're constantly connected or whatever. Yeah.
So
you'll
see
is
a
it a
3-year-old.
generational kind of thing that the decision makers in the school boards, organizations, they're kind of not living in the past or whatever, but because they haven't really adapted it, they haven't come on board with the technology.
They haven't.
Right?
That's part of it.
So,
and I think, but kids are also, we are big consumers of technology, but we don't necessarily understand the logic behind the technology.
I'll raise my hand there whenever you buy the gadget and you're like, and you only maybe use 10% of the device.
The capability,
of
that product. And so we're hoping, learning to code and learning to program is like learning a foreign language. When is the best time to learn a foreign language? When you're younger.
It's true.
And so
That's
if these kids are starting these classes in 2nd and 3rd grade, 4th and 5th grade, they're going to be so much, they're really going to be farther ahead when they are going for these jobs.
So do you have a Rosetta Stone version for folks like us or whatever, right, to catch up? Or that's maybe what the school board, you need to kind of, I don't know what the...
Here's what we're seeing happening as we have really started to understand. There's a grassroots movement where you have cooperatives that are outside of your regular school systems, that are actually parents are taking matters into their own hands because they're not getting the resources for their children in the regular school setting, public or private.
Right.
And so...
That's where you guys come in,
right? That's where we come in.
That's great.
That's where we come in. And we have a very inviting center.
I went to the website. It's very impressive, whatever. You see the faculty and then the just the visuals of the classroom. I mean, it looks kind of high-tech, like you're at Google's headquarters or something, or whatever, right?
It's very inviting.
Yeah, it's very
inviting. We do have something on the wall which is quite interesting, and I think this applies when you walk in. It's a statement on the wall, and it says, "The essence of mathematics is not to make simple things complicated, but to make complicated things simple." And I think that applies not only to mathematics, but reading, science, and incorporating technology, because we do need to train a workforce.
Right.
Otherwise, if we don't have our children learning what other children are learning in countries that are developing, the United States is going to be left behind.
Big time. I'm probably more a testament to the earlier part of your statement than the latter, but it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is simplify life to elevate purpose. Mm-hmm. So if you can kind of like clear all of this clutter and kind of streamline things and eliminate the stuff that's just causing noise around you, simplify life, you can elevate purpose, right? So that's kind of a little bit what you're talking to. So tell us a little bit about, I think most people's perception might be, especially if you go to some of these tech events or whatever, right, that it's a male-dominated, field in technology, right? You think of the whiz kids and, so is that somewhat true or a misnomer or... Well, I'm talking to two ladies here, so I mean...
It is very true, and I think that we are trying to inspire more young girls to take coding classes, and we have talked about offering a girls-only coding class. Okay. The girls and boys do fine together, but certainly there are probably 70% boys in the class and 30% girls, sometimes fewer girls. But the girls are amazing. They're very detail-oriented, and they're very enthusiastic about the programs.
Well, they're probably more interactive with social media platforms and the technology, but now you got to kind of take them a step back and figure out, like you said, the coding behind it, the technology behind it, and right? And where they can maybe, besides just, adding more friends or followers, that way they can actually turn that into, a position and a career.
Right. I mean, imagine... when we see children playing with all the apps and the tablets and the computers and even even I've had children come in, younger siblings come in, and they're all over their parents' iPhone. And what is interesting is they're using it, and as Anne Marie said, we are consumers, but we're not learning our way around a computer and how to use a computer. And you think we should be learning and teaching children how to analyze, to see patterns, how to problem solve, how to make things simpler, better, and faster. And so, that's where a business like ours comes in that's filling a need in a community. And what we have also done is sought after people who are industry professionals and certified teachers. And it's interesting now, people are contacting us and saying, I want to be part of your center. I love what you're doing.
Teach at our center.
Yeah.
And teach at our center.
Who are... what does the typical teacher, I guess, look like, or what are some of their backgrounds?
Well, all age groups and men and women. We have one teacher that we just hired. He is from Egypt. We've talked about offering a coding class in another language, possibly Arabic or French. He worked for, was it Microsoft in Egypt? And
yes.
Very interesting.
Okay. But now, what about online, or is this all in the space
is done
here?
in the classroom. We don't offer any online classes at this time.
Okay. Which is, I think, kind of cool because, it's that interaction and that the blend of both, right? The best of both, where they're, like in a typical school, that social element and interaction and, and a teacher right there that can read the students' interaction and level of what I'm trying to say? Participation, or where they're gaining the message. Fill in the blanks right there. Help me out. Yeah,
they're engaged.
They're
very
engagement.
engaged.
Yeah. So, okay, great. So, tell us, our listeners, audience, how they might get in touch with you all and find out about the school and how they find out about y'all.
Absolutely. They can go to our website, which is easykids4coding.com, or they can email us at info@advantagelearningcooperative.com.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here, and
Thanks for
hope we
having
can send
us.
some more students and professors and
thank you very much.
Y'all's way. Yeah. What is the capacity right now? I guess what's your current enrollment? What could you expand
we
into?
Have, our classes are never more than 12 students at a time. So classes range from 6 to 12 students.
Okay.
And then we have 3 classrooms.
Okay.
So usually there's 1 or 2 classes going on at a time, sometimes more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our hope is that we can end up getting some partnerships that might see the importance of bringing in and helping us with adding more computers, because sometimes parents come and they have 3 children, but they don't have 3
They have
computers.
one laptop computer.
So or it's outdated or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
we're trying to find some partnerships with that.
Well, Anne Marie and Denise, thanks for being here this
so
morning.
much.
Really enjoyed it, and I feel a little bit smarter already. Whatever, right?